Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Hopkins County will be reimbursed for all county expenses for the care and management of hundreds of head of malnourished cattle seized by the SPCA of Texas and the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office. Hopkins County Attorney Dusty Raby said the check received by the county Monday for the auction of the cattle was $257,667.45, which will cover the county expense of $254,721. SPCA will receive the remainder of the money from the sale and will be owed an additional $12,000, which will be recovered from George Lawrence Bergen of Sulphur Springs, who had owned the near 1,600 head of cattle seized.
It looks like the final amount was $257,667.45. So the sale went pretty good, I think, under the circumstances.
And how much of that will be going to the county?
The county has been out around $254,721. So that will cover all the county's expenses, and the remainder will still owe money to the SPCA that we will still need to collect. It looks like around $12,000 is what we would need to cover everything.
Where will this money come from?
The court entered an order the day of the trial and ordered Mr. Bergen to pay the money through a forfeiture order.
Now, there was some discussion immediately after the trial. He had posted an appeal bond. The speculation was any excess expense might come out of that appeal bond money.
Yes, I mean, he could opt to, he's been ordered to pay the money through the forfeiture order. The sale of the cattle will go towards that, but there will be a balance, it looks like, of about $12,000. Whether it will require us to look into going after the bond, whether that would be paid as part of restitution through the criminal case, that could all just be decided. But fortunately, we're down to a pretty small amount of money left over and no money for the county at this point, so that's good.
The trial obviously will be in district court for the failure to provide. Right
now it's filed as a felony. If that still stands, then yes, it would go to district court through the 8th Judicial District. There's always a chance, I guess, it could fall back as a misdemeanor. I think that'll just have to be decided for sure.
And as far as you are concerned, this has turned out well?
I think so. We're dealing with cattle that really weren't in that good of shape, so we weren't really sure how the sale would go. And I think under the circumstances and the number of days involved in caring for the cattle, it all went pretty well.
How many days were the cattle involved?
Well, the first day was December 4th that some of the cattle were seized. We had the sale last Wednesday, so over a month they were being cared for.
In May, local voters will elect 2 to the Hopkins County Hospital District, 2 to the Sulphur Springs School Board, and 3 to the Sulphur Springs City Council. Ron Falwell, Executive Director of the Hopkins County Hospital District, said 2 seats will be on the May 5th ballot for the Hospital District Board. Seats currently held by Dr. David Black and Dr. Suzanne Bankston will be on the ballot. Filing for a place on the ballot is open until February 16th. At this time, no one has filed for a place during the first week of filing. Danny Ray, retired Texas Ranger, died January 20th, 2018 in San Angelo, Texas, after a lengthy illness. Ranger Ray was assigned to the Sulphur Springs area, where his valor and professional response in a crisis situation earned him the Texas Ranger Medal of Valor in June of 1998. Awarded in recognition of his valor and professional response exhibited during a crisis at the Texas Department of Public Safety building here in Sulphur Springs, on January 6, 1998, Ranger Sergeant Danny Ray assisted Trooper Cody Sanders and Trooper George K. Harris in dealing with a man who was carrying what was identified as a bomb at the Sulphur Springs DPS office. The man told Trooper Harris to evacuate the building because he was going to blow himself up. The building was evacuated. The officers negotiated with the man for almost an hour, believing he was holding an explosive device and intended to detonate the device. The man eventually displayed a handgun, pointed it at Trooper Harris. Ranger Sergeant Ray then fired one shot, fatally wounding the man. Ranger Sergeant Ray's courage, decisive action, and dedication to duty in this tense and volatile situation brought him credit, and also brought credit to the Texas Department of Public Safety and the profession of law enforcement. 3 Sulphur Springs High School student members of Business Professionals of America qualified for the BPA state competition following their success at the regional competition conducted at Plano High School recently. 7 qualified as alternates to the state competition. Natalie Cruz placed first in Human Resource Management, Dakota Solis was second in PC Servicing and Troubleshooting, and Giselle Gonzalez was fourth in Payroll Accounting. Here's Don Julian with more school news and sports.
Well, we'll start with some news. The Wildcats UIL academic team competed in the North Lamar Winter UIL Invitational Meet last Friday and Saturday. And we get results from Wildcats UIL academic coordinator Gerald Grafton.
We took the team. We had a lot of kids go this Friday and Saturday this past week. We did our debate meet on Friday and our ready writing, and then all the other events were on Saturday. We had several kids do really well. We finished second place overall. Mount Pleasant took first place, and we're doing our best to catch up to them now. In ready writing, we had Anne Marie Gunn placed first overall, and Brianna Wooten placed third. In LD debate, Corbin Philo placed first overall. In number sense, we had Andrew Westland placed first in his grade level, and he was fourth overall. Braden Fisher placed second in his grade level, and he was fifth overall. Jillian Thomas placed fifth in her grade level. Blake Talmadge placed fourth in his grade level, and the team, the number sense team, finished second place with Westland, Fisher, and Thomas being the team members on that. In social studies, Brandon Hodges placed first overall, and Leif Thomas placed fifth overall. The social studies team placed first overall with Hodges, Thomas, and then Felipe Alba was the third member on that team. In editorial writing, Angela Brown finished second, and Natalie Cruz finished third. In calculator, Carissa Carter was third place in her grade level and fifth place overall. Isaac Gutierrez was third place in 10th grade and second place, and then the calculator team was the second place team with Carter, Gutierrez, and then Peyton Bob was the third member on that team. The spelling team finished second place overall with Chase Charlton, Natalie Cruz, and Giselle Garcia. Chase was individually placed third, and Natalie Cruz placed fifth place overall. In mathematics, Andrew Westland was third place in his grade level, and Peyton Bow was fourth place in hers. Braden Fisher was fifth place in his grade level, and the mathematics team was second place team with Peyton Baugh, Fisher, and Westland rounding out the team. In accounting, Jillian Thomas placed second place overall. In science, Matthew Harper finished first place in his grade level, and Jasmine Vargas finished fifth place in her grade level. Literary criticism, Carissa Carter was first place overall, Natalie Cruz finished third, Lainey Whittle finished fourth, and the Lit Crit team was first place team with Carissa Carter, Natalie Cruz, and Lainey Whittle making out the team. In current events, Brandon Hodges was second place. In prose interpretation, Rachel Bramlett finished first place. In headline writing, Natalie Cruz finished first place. And then in computer science, we swept computer science. Braden Fisher was first. Kevin Orozco was second. Josh Rissman was third. Nathan Tigesser was fourth place. Blake Talmadge was fifth place. And Andrew Westland was sixth place, and they finished as first place team as well. And then finally in copy editing, the last event of the day was Angela Brown finishing in sixth place overall. So we really enjoyed ourselves. We're real proud of the kids, and looking forward to our upcoming meets here in the next couple of weeks. We've got district cross-ex coming up next week, and then the rest of district meet will be at the end of March.
Well, will the team have a meet coming up this weekend?
Yes, sir. We're going to be competing at Mount Pleasant this weekend, a practice meet, and hope to learn more about ourselves this weekend. So looking forward to it.
The Sulphur Springs High School Gerald Kennedy chapter of the National Technical Honor Society is inducting new members Monday night. We learned more from local NTSH advisor Debbie Stribling.
The National Technical Honor Society is an honor society for students in a career and technical education course.
Okay. And is there an event coming up, I guess?
Tonight we have our induction ceremony at 6 o'clock here in the high school cafeteria. We'd like to invite everyone to come and be here. It's a wonderful event to recognize our students for their achievements in their academic performance at Sulphur Springs High School.
How are they selected?
In order to be a National Technical Honor Society, students must be a junior or senior, have a 3.5 weighted GPA, have taken or are currently enrolled in at least 3 CTE courses, and that's all.
Okay. And so this is something 4 or 5 years old, I guess, that we started.
Yes, it is. Mrs. Brenda McKenzie started this at Sulphur Springs High School 5 or 6 years ago, and it was just a way to recognize our students in CTE courses.
Now these CTE, that's would we call that technical education, I guess?
Yes, it could be anything from architecture and construction to computer to agricultural sciences to health sciences to family and consumer sciences to culinary, just a wide range of skills.
All right, and when and where is that?
Tonight at 6 o'clock in the high school cafeteria, we will be inducting 18 new members. We have 16 members that are returning, and they will be introduced and recognized tonight as well.
In sports, the number 7 ranked Wildcats basketball team improved their district record to 6-0, and their season marked a 23-3 after Friday night's 48-33 win at Hallsville. I talked about the win with Wildcats coach Clark Cipolletta.
Yeah, it's a very, very good atmosphere. Their student body really comes out and, riles you up a little bit. So, it's a great gym. It's just a little different, real nice facility. So it's a fun place to play, but also, very, very challenging at times. And I thought we actually played really well. That Hallsville really tried to slow down the game and really held the ball most of it to try to limit the number of possessions. But I thought we did a good job of staying focused, and especially on the offensive end, I thought we really ran our stuff well. We really got what we call we shots, where we're moving the ball around and finding an open guy, and we were able to capitalize on it.
You like your chances in a game that's slowed down with less possessions. You like your chances in those, don't you?
It just really depends who we're playing. They felt like we're a lot more athletic and a lot bigger, so it's in their favor to slow it down. And, against a team like that, I'd rather speed it up a little bit to get more possessions out of it. But, we do feel comfortable playing that way because at times we won't hold the ball, but we'll play a slower type of pace and really work offensively and defensively. So whatever they throw at us, we're usually ready for.
Seemed like Willis and Gigi maybe were your top 2 scorers this time.
Yeah, Keeson did a really good job of knocking down open shots, and our team did a really good job of finding them, finding him, getting him in rhythm shots, and giving him good passes so he can catch and shoot. Gigi really pounded the boards hard. We were a lot bigger than they were, so we got a lot of high-low looks, especially with Gigi. Victor played really well. He didn't finish inside as much as he or as I would have liked them to. But, as a group, I thought we really played really efficient, and especially on the offensive end.
Victor's just such a presence on defense. He just kind of closes the lane, doesn't he?
He does. Hallsville came in a couple of times. I think he had 2 or 3 where he might have blocked it twice, hit it with his right hand and hit it with his left. I think one hit like a cheerleader in the head or something. I don't know. But, he does a really good job just protecting and being a defensive presence, just really special.
Well, the term, you've used it over and over against opponents this year, but it really applies to the next opponent, Pine Tree and Scrappy. Mm-hmm. And they gave us quite a battle in this gym. It seemed like they were just a few points behind, maybe in the third quarter or something. So we know that, especially playing at home, we're going to get their full effort.
Yes, and they're coming off of a game where they beat the Texas High, who's in third place, beat them by almost 20. And that was their first district win. But they've been in every game, like you said, very scrappy. Some young players he has, so they're learning, and it seems like they're getting better and better each week. And like you said, playing there is really tough, and we're going to get their best. So we really got to come in focus. We're missing Bryson Lynn. He actually got a concussion in Hallsville, slid over and the back of his head hit the ground, so he'll be out for a little while. But next guy up, and we'll be ready to play.
All right. Hallsville has the newcomer of the year from last year. Now, we really held him down in this gym, but I know he wants to make his mark playing at home.
Right, yes. Pine Tree, his name's J.J. Sparkman, just a real big kid. I think he might have had 6 or 8 against us, but against Texas High, I think he had like 20 points and 20 rebounds. Just really played well, and we know what he's capable of, a very good athlete. We'll be ready to hopefully slow him down a little bit as well.
The number 9 ranked Lady Cats basketball team remained unbeaten in district play as they rolled over Hallsville 80-28 in Wildcats Gym Friday night. The Lady Cats got off to a strong start, and they led 20-6 after one quarter. The Lady Cats were up 37-12 at halftime. They led after 3 quarters 57-20. The Lady Cats averaged 20 points per quarter and yielded an average of 7 points per quarter. Sadavia Porter led the Lady Cats with 24 points, including 2 3-pointers. Kaylee Jefferson and Autumn Tanton each had 20 points. Amani Taylor scored 9 points, including 1 3-point basket. Danielle Godbolt had 5 points, and Jamia Hall scored 2 points. The Lady Cats made 48% of their shots. They made 3 of 13 3-point shots for 23%. They hit 63% of their free throws, making 19 of 30. The Lady Cats grabbed 28 rebounds, including 17 offensive rebounds. Jefferson had 8 rebounds and Taylor had 5. The Lady Cats had 16 assists, and Jefferson had a team-leading 8. She also had a block. The Lady Cats made 12 turnovers. They also had 15 deflections and 26 steals. Tanton had a team-high 8 steals. The Lady Cats are now 8-0 in district play, and their season record is 22-3. The Lady Cats have won 6 games in a row. The Lady Cats will play Pine Tree at home Tuesday night. In their first meeting in Pine Tree, the Lady Cats won 59-26. That was back on December 19th. The Wildcats soccer team took 3rd place in the Richardson Ice Bowl with 2 wins on Saturday. The Wildcats defeated Dallas Carter 4-1 Saturday morning and then came from behind to capture 3rd place with a 2-1 victory over Richardson Berkner on Saturday afternoon. Against Carter, the Wildcats got 2 goals from junior Enrique Arellano and single goals from senior Julio Robles and senior Angel Tavera. Arellano and Alexis Escobedo were credited with assists. In that 3rd place game, the Berkner Rams actually scored first with 18 minutes into the first half. Later in the first half, the Wildcats tied the game at 1-1 on an Angel Tavera goal on a set piece. A Wildcat player was fouled just outside the box, setting up the free kick. Tavera also put the Wildcats ahead with a goal just before halftime. In the second half, the Wildcats held on to win. 3 Wildcats were named to the all-tournament team: Tavera and senior defenders Christian Huff and Brandon Diosdado. The Wildcats won 3 and lost 1 in the Ice Bowl tournament, and they're now 6-6 for the season. The Wildcats play next at Gerald Prim Stadium Tuesday night against Pittsburgh. The Lady Cats soccer team also took 3rd place, this in the North Forney Falcon Showcase with a win and a tie in Saturday games. In the game for 3rd place Saturday afternoon, the Lady Cats dominated in a 7-0 win over Dallas Bryan Adams. The Lady Cats scored 3 first-half goals and had 4 more in the second half. Keely Hudgens had a 3-goal hat trick. Melina Zaretta scored 2 goals. Gracie Boyer and Allie Stevens had 1 goal. Taylor Robinson had 2 assists. Erica Lara, Hudgens, Bailey Arrington, and Boyer all had 1 assist. Saturday morning, the Lady Cats and Class 6A Garland Lakeview Centennial played to a 1-1 tie in the tournament. The Lady Cats scored just before halftime to take a 1-0 lead. Janine Yamaguchi scored the goal, assisted by Robinson. The Lady Patriots got an equalizing goal in the second half. Goalkeeper McKenna Gamble had 10 saves in this game. The Lady Cats won 2, lost 1, and tied 1 in this North Forney tournament. The Lady Cats now have a season record of 7 wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties. They will play at Lindale Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And finally, both the Saltillo Lions and the Saltillo Lady Lions got wins against Roxton Friday night. The Lions defeated Roxton 66-43. The Lions got off to a good start. They led 21-10 after the first quarter. Roxton outscored Saltillo in the second quarter 14-11, but the Lions still led 32-24 at the half. Then the Lions had a very good second half, and they led 47-33 after 3 quarters and 66-43 at the end. Walker McGill led the Lions with 26 points. Trevor Moore had 17 points. Chris Bokhorst scored 10 points. Matthew Gurley had 9 points. Branson McGill had 4 points. The Lions are 2-1 in district play and 16-14 for the season. They'll be playing Sulphur Bluff in a homecoming game on Friday. And the Saltillo Lady Lions overwhelmed Roxton 82-8 to improve to 4-0 in district play. The Lady Lions are 13-15 for the season. The Lady Lions held Roxton scoreless in both the first and third quarters. The Lady Lions led 14-0 after 1 quarter, 36-4 at halftime, 68-4 after 3 quarters, and 82-8 at the end. Madison Simmons had 44 big points for the Lady Lions. Maddie Smith added 15 points. Christina Wade had 11 points. Anna Reeder 4 points. Jocelyn Ochoa 3 points. Chandler Bain and Christy Gurley 2 points. And Tori Mobley 1 point.
Sulphur Springs City Council places 1, 2, and 3 are on the May 5th ballot. Incumbent Oscar Aguilar has filed for place 3. He currently has no opponent. In place 1, incumbent Craig Johnson has filed. His challenger will be Justin Davidson. For place 2, Sarah Gibson and Jimmy Lucas have filed. We spoke with both Gibson and Lucas recently.
Sulphur Springs has been my home for now to 54, 55 years, and I just feel like it's my turn to give back. I've been on the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's been a while. I was on the Downtown Revitalization Board and enjoyed that, but it came time to go back to the family business, and so I spent a lot of years doing that, and I've just found myself in a place where it's time to carve out a new future, and I'd love to help Sulphur Springs do that too.
The experience that you gained with the Planning and Zoning Board and also with the revitalization program, that's going to come into play, I would think, in what you're going to do for the city.
Yeah, I think it probably will. We'll draw on some past experiences and, again, focus on the future and just make Sulphur Springs better and better. We've done that over the last decade, and I'd just like to be a part of carrying it on.
Looking at the future of Sulphur Springs, what are some of the things that you see in that future?
Maintaining the good that we've done. There are some areas that we need to improve on. I think everyone would agree that there are some areas that have been maybe pushed aside for the sake of some other things, and for some very, very good things. But you can't do everything at once, and so we need to work on some other areas too.
prioritizing for the city? What are some of your priorities for the city?
I think probably at this point, I would say that our streets need some help. But again, there's only so much you can do. We've got some great new streets. We've got Houston Street, we've got South Locust, we've got South Moore, we've got Radio Road. We've got some great new streets. And we've got some big ones that need some work. But we need to plan for that kind of thing also.
As you look at the city, obviously your business experience is going to come into play in being a member of the council. Managing budgets and so forth, that has to be something you're experienced in.
Yeah, obviously I've had a business background and learned from one of the best. My dad, Bill Watts, was the owner of the company, of course, for 20 years, and now I've been the owner of the company for 17 years, and I would love to use that for the city's benefit.
The interesting thing about being a council member is interacting with city staff, interacting with the council members, and interacting with the community. Blending all that together, how do you see doing that?
That is an easy thing for me to do. I love people. I love making them feel at home, and I think it'll just be one of the easier parts of being a council person, because I'm just a people lover.
Okay.
And I want to make everybody feel like they're a part of the city.
With your dad having been mayor and having been on the council, some people may see you as kind of an inside person in the council. Do you perceive yourself as that, or do you perceive yourself as someone coming in with new and fresh ideas and new direction?
Oh, I don't see myself as an insider at all. It's been 20 years since Dad was on the council, and as much as I have loved the city all these years, I'm not necessarily an insider at all. I know a lot of the people just because I've grown up here with them, graduated high school with them, that kind of thing. But oh my gosh, I will have fresh ideas and fresh input and that kind of thing, for sure.
Your dad was on the council during a time when it was kind of a rough ride, and with some of the things going on in the city, the ride may get rough again. Do you perceive being able to be one like he who found a smooth path and took people down it?
I do, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but I've been told I'm a chip off the old block, and so I learned business sense from him. I learned a spiritual sense from him, and my love of people, I feel like, also comes from him. He's a pretty amazing man, and he's taught me well, and I have no trouble going against a grain if I have to, or being more businesslike and less friendly if I have to. I'm not, I'm a sweet gal, but
But you've run a business, and so
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you look at the development that's going on in the city, a lot of time and money has been spent downtown, and some are saying that there needs to be a look outside of the downtown area. What's your perception of that?
I feel like that's true to a point. The work that we've done downtown needs to be maintained. It was neglected for 50 years. We had one little program go on in the 80s or 90s that didn't ever really take off, and other than that, it's just been, it is what it is kind of thing. So I do want to see it maintained. I want to see it I sit downtown in restaurants or, various places, and I see people come in from out of town. They're spending their money here, and I think that's important. I know for a fact that people come here with thoughts of eating here, playing here, staying in our hotels, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. But are there areas outside of downtown that need to be addressed? Sure.
Industrial growth is always slow in a smaller town, but Silver Springs has seemed to be very successful with that industrial growth. Do you perceive that continuing also, or are you going to try to do some things to kind of improve that?
Oh, I hope so. I think we need jobs, and I think we need industries coming in for sure. Okay. For sure.
Is there any specific thing that you want to say to the voter, kind of summarizing all of this? Is there a specific thing you want to say to the voter in Silver Springs regarding your candidacy for place 2?
I guess I would just like to say that I've come through a rough time the last year. This town has supported me and helped me along, and I just, first of all, I want to say thank you for that. And if I can give back just a little bit to say thank you for that, then that's what I'd like to do. My husband and I had an amazing life here. We raised our kids here, and now it's time to focus on the future here.
Why did you choose to run?
Well, Jimmy, I think in the case of a lot of citizens is they see problems usually in their neighborhood that develop in their neighborhood, and they think that they can do a better job of running the city. And what they don't understand is that there's a lot of complex problems to running the city, just like there is a business. And my motivation was, of course, citizens would come to me, and if you say anything about it, they'll say, well, why don't you run? Well, okay, I decided to run, and what motivated me was actually my street condition. It was overlaid, I don't know the exact date, but maybe 4 years ago, and it was a beautiful overlay. They did a great job of overlaying it, but since then, it's been compromised 5 times with big, huge holes dug out in the street. Now, these develop problems because they are not sealed correctly along with the overlay. So they just get beat out. These are huge, huge things where they have to make repairs, and I understand they got to make repairs, but they're huge holes. They're going to get beat out, and then where are you going to be? You're going to have another problem on one that was overlaid. The overlay was beautiful. Overlay was costly, and now we're having to go back and repair.
Do you feel like that in this specific instance? Do you feel like that streets need to be totally redone when anything's done to a street? Here's what I feel like, and here's what I feel like the solution to that problem is if we want to really join hands with our county, would be to hire a real street, road, and bridge engineer. Somebody that really knows what they're doing. Not saying that our city did not do a good job of the overlay. They did. It was beautiful. It's a 1-block street and been compromised 5 times. There's something. It's not just been compromised for water or sewer. There was a problem with the overlay where water would get underneath the street and wash out underneath the street. Well, once the sun came out and got that hot, then you've got big holes. Yeah. And they're dips, and it's just not good for our vehicles, and it's not good for the money that we spent to do that overlay. So I believe the answer to the problem, join with the county and hire somebody that really knows what they're doing. Working with the county in this way, do you think there's some other things that the city and county need to work on that they're not? Oh, absolutely. I think that the senior citizens building comes to mind to me.
it is usable by the county. And I made a visit there not long ago, and it would be in the classification of deplorable. It was built in 1986. That doesn't sound like an old building, but it has never been renovated, and it has problems that have been reported that are just absolutely, they're just going unnoticed and untaken care of. One of them is a dangerous situation as far as I'm concerned. I know health standards, and it has mold near the dishwasher, and that's just a bad situation for the people who come there, the people who work there. The building, I think, was probably designed and built for just a one-purpose thing for seniors to gather. However, it has turned into much more than that. And if you want to and have the time, go visit with the director down there, and she will enlighten you. She really enlightened me on a lot of things I had no idea went on at that building. But now that I know, I can be a part of those. And certainly I want to be a part of getting her what she really needs. She needs the tools that she really needs to do.
So I hear streets, I hear senior citizens. What other needs in the city do you perceive?
Well, I want to make sure that our citizens are safe. And that is with our police, fire, and emergency services. That includes ambulance. I know that belongs to the hospital, but we're a big part of how they fund that ambulance service. So we should really be getting what we need out of that too. The fire service, I'm not sure, along with a lot of other citizens, that I understand why the fire chief was let go. If it's a cost savings measure, then I have to question, why are we spending money elsewhere? You know, I have a saying, and that is, if your toilet's backing up, don't remodel your kitchen. You know? It seems like we're doing a lot of kitchen remodeling, but we're not calling the plumber to fix the toilet. And I want to get the toilet fixed and then remodel the kitchen. If the kitchen's working, then fine.
Right.
I just happened to notice Friday morning, I was at a local store, and a vehicle pulled up next to me, and it was the emergency vehicle for the county fire chief. Now, I'm not sure how many employees he manages, but I'm sure he manages a great number less than what a fire chief would here. And I see that as a huge need to look into getting that fire chief back. If it's a cost measure, then that's fine. Let's stop spending money somewhere else, and let's get that fire chief back, because that's important to us, is that we're protected.
Budget plays a big role in the work of a city council member. What prepares you to work with budgets?
Well, as my career rose through Coca-Cola, we deal on a daily basis with huge contracts. My area of responsibility with Coca-Cola alone generates about $3 million in revenue a year. And that most of that comes from contracted work. And we have to, and these are complex contracts. These are very specific of what we have to do and what they have to do, where we are on money and where they're at on money, generating profits for them and generating revenue for us. So I'm very well prepared. I have watched the budget for City of Sulphur Springs online, as anybody can do, for a quite number of years, ever since I was interested in city council. So I'm very prepared for that day when the budget is presented to me. I do feel like, as a council candidate, that council people should have, and I don't know what their processes are, because citizens are not really involved in that. They're presented with a budget, but that's it, not the processes. And I believe that there should be a process in place where council members can line item veto item on the budget, where it's not wrapped up into something else. A good, for instance, of that is the fire chief. Fire chief was wrapped up into the fire budget. Council members have to vote for the budget, but then they have to take a separate vote for the fire chief. We had one council member who abstained. It was perfectly his right to do so. But then it comes into question, why did you approve the budget? And then you don't for this. Well, why did we have two separate votes for it? Why couldn't we just line item the fire chief and done away with it right there?
When you look at the city as a whole, what are some of the things that you see for its future that you would like to bring to pass?
Well, naturally, what comes to my mind is empowering the code enforcement with more powers, more tools to actually get something done about some of these places that we're noticing all over town. 50% of our citizens rent, and we have no renters grievance committee, council whatsoever. They're just kind of out there to play the rules any way they want to. I'll give you, for instance, I had a neighbor across the street from me. They rent. Their house had a slight fire in it, and about the same time they had a tremendous water leak from rain. The landlord comes over, repairs the stove that caused the fire. Now, if it were me, I'm dealing with people's lives in my house. I want to remove the stove, put in a new one. He repairs it, which is fine. I mean, okay, if it's repaired, but who actually monitors that? I feel like code enforcement should monitor that through the renter and say, this is still not safe. This is not a safe situation. He patches the ceiling in the house but doesn't fix the roof. Okay? So we've still got a problem. Small children in here, and we know what black mold is doing these days. We know where that goes. So I'm concerned that these renters have no place to go when this is happening. Did he make the repairs? Yes. Were they still safe? No. Not by anybody's imagination were they safe. So I'm concerned that our citizens, who are made up of 50% population of renters, have no place to go. In turn, I feel like they don't take care of the property. In turn, we wind up with properties in our neighborhoods that are unsightly. I've got a whole street of them right now. When me and Jennifer moved into our house 25 years ago, I would say 90% of the street was ownership. And it has reversed now to maybe 20% ownership. And you can see the decline. And it's overall because the landlords are not taking care of the property, which in turn the renters don't take care of the property. The renters just up and move to another place. Landlord comes in and mildly fixes it. And I want to see code enforcement not just added with a bunch of rules, but I want to give them some backbone. Where when he goes in and he determines that that's unsafe, he can really do something about it.
Business development. What specific goals do you have in the area of business development?
This is a thorn in a lot of people's sides if you talk to them. A lot of our business development is actually outside the city limits and not susceptible to our tax. Now, those people, they do bring people in who buy homes. Those are taxable. They spend money, that's all taxable. But there's just this concern that they're building outside the city limits and not being taxed. We can't do anything about that. I mean, if they chose to build outside, all we can do is support them and gain from what they bring to the table. Business development, I develop business every single day. And the way we develop business is a mix of what we know is going to sell and what we put out there, and actually just encourage the consumer to take. So I think that we need to encourage more business here. Just like I encourage customers to not pick up the carbonated soft drink. They're looking for something healthy, pick up some kind of water. We've got to encourage more business to come here. Right now, I don't think we're encouraging them. Now, we are outside that umbrella where the DFW Metroplex shifted to Rockwall. Rockwall shifts to Greenville. But what happened there? You left out Royce City. You left out Mesquite. And those are going to happen. Now we're outside that umbrella because we didn't catch the drops from Rockwall. Greenville did. And so we have to work extra hard to get these people's confidence and get them in and be more friendly to them.
In wrapping up, what would you specifically want to say to the voters in Sulphur Springs?
Well, I want to say that I am, I'm probably labeled a rebel, and I'm not at all. I'm willing to work with anybody, and I am not anti-downtown. I have a lot of friends who own business down there. Why would I want to see them fail? I don't. I want to see them succeed, and they get it. You know, when I tell them each and every single time when we have a convenience store open up in Sulphur Springs, that splits the business up. So what my company has to do is try to make sure that whoever is being taken from gets that new business. Okay? It can't work out every single time, but wherever they're getting the new business. And with a number of businesses in the same classification opening up downtown, it's creating a problem where there's a revolving door. And we have got to get away from managing and micromanaging and focusing on that 4-block area and come out to the other areas where the companies that come in here pay better, they pay insurance, they have retirement plans, they have a formal line of promotion where somebody can go to another city and manage a store. We've got to get away from this is what we're doing downtown and nothing else is appropriate. There's the rental rate there. If you think about it, as we beautify Sulphur Springs, and we want that downtown and we want it thriving, and it is. I was just down there Saturday night to eat and I could barely find a parking lot. You know that. However, whenever you start that beautification process and it reaches a level where rents are then being doubled, how are people going to afford that? People want a return on their investment, and I don't blame them. If I had a building downtown and I had spent a lot of money on it, I want a return on that investment. So rent's going to be high. So local businesses are struggling. I just talked to one the other day. Her rent went up significantly, like 40%. She was not only going to be responsible for the 40% increase in rent, but the electrical, the air conditioning, and the plumbing. And that's in her lease. So if our air conditioner goes out, she's going to have to pay. Or she's going to have to move out and be susceptible to her lease. And that's not good for her. You know, she can't stay in business that way. She's having to move. And I hate that, because there's another empty building that's just going to be part of the revolving door. We've got to balance it out. We've got to figure it out and balance it out, where these rents are not too high for people to be there, and we're mixing our business where there's eateries and there is retail. We've got to get retail.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.